Welcome back to our channel, where we provide updates and undisclosed narratives on Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. We are excited to share the following news. 1 month ago, King Charles finally bans Andrew and Meghan after shocking revelation. On December 1, 2025, King Charles Roman III revealed an unprecedented restructuring of the royal family's public functions, which resonated across the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. In an unusually forceful appeal to public trust, his proclamation permanently stripped Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, of all remaining royal titles and obligations, and officially barred Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, from the institution. The king ascribed both measures to what he termed a serious breach of trust related to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, while concurrently designating the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, as the definitive leaders of a reformed, more responsible monarchy in the future. For centuries, the British monarchy has endured significant societal transformations, political examination, and intermittent personal controversies depending on a combination of tradition, continuity, and progressive adaptation to preserve its legitimacy. The current reign of King Charles Roman III began with increased media scrutiny and evolving public expectations around openness and accountability in governance. The king has consistently articulated a want to modernize and optimize the institution. But underneath the rituals and ceremonies, many unsolved problems persist, presenting a significant reputational risk to the crown. The November declaration indicated that, in his opinion, certain unsolved issues could no longer be addressed incrementally or postponed. It proposed a new threshold for acceptable behavior from those with royal connections, in addition to ceremonial and private infractions. Participation with networks considered detrimental to the monarchy's moral authority would now result in significant institutional repercussions. The timing and substance of the presentation came after weeks of heightened curiosity, exacerbated by a prior leak indicating that a major royal announcement was forthcoming. On an October evening, as photographers and journalists gathered before the gates of Buckingham Palace, Charles, then in his late 70s and having had recent health challenges, took the unusual step of directly addressing the country. The speech's tone, controlled and grave, emphasized the seriousness of his choice and its purpose to save the institution by removing characteristics the crown could no longer endure. The king characterized the acts as a kind of institutional triage, arduous and disruptive, but essential for the monarchy to restore its legitimacy and moral clarity. Multiple sources affiliated with the palace indicate that the catalyst for action was the recent emergence of significant papers related to the Epstein estate in late 2025. The cache allegedly included hundreds of pages of emails, travel records, guest lists, and corporate correspondence. While the specific contents are still undergoing internal review and were not explicitly detailed by the palace officials, indicated that these materials provide further insight into the scope and nature of Prince Andrew's associations with Jeffrey Epstein and indirectly expose links between Epstein's broader social network and individuals within Meghan Markle's royal, professional, and social spheres. Confronted with these disclosures, Charles organized a series of high-level discussions with key advisors and royal family members, including the Prince of Wales, who has been characterized by insiders as a proponent of more assertive institutional risk management. According to palace officials, the deliberations yielded a consensus gradual measures were insufficient for the monarchy to maintain popular trust and retain its ideals. The announcement was made in a succinct, meticulously prepared speech that emphasized the institution's need to uphold the highest standards of duty and dignity. The king said that the Duke of York is stripped of all titles and responsibilities due to his involvement with the Jeffrey Epstein case. The Duchess of Sussex is similarly disqualified for the same serious breach of trust. The monarchy would progress under William and Catherine with restored integrity. The brevity of the statement was intentional. It expressed conclusiveness without offering a detailed analysis of the data that supported the assertion. The absence raised inquiries about the precise conclusions and their legal or factual foundations, while simultaneously redirecting focus from previous scandals to the forthcoming leadership of Crown, the palace aimed to present the move as an internal governance decision, emphasizing institutional principles over courtroom facts. So prioritizing the preservation of public trust rather than a judicial ruling. The announcement was disseminated worldwide within minutes, facilitated by social media and continuous news coverage. The categorization of Prince Andrew and Meghan Markle under the same designation, a grave breach of trust associated with the Epstein scandal, was surprising for distinct reasons in each instance. Prince Andrew's decline in popular esteem was prolonged and well recorded, but it had never resulted in the definitive separation that Charles declared. Meghan's official exile, in contrast, signified an unanticipated escalation. She and Prince Harry had withdrawn from key royal responsibilities in 2020 and moved to California, where they engaged in a mostly autonomous public and humanitarian existence. The contrast between the two names in the King's proclamation sparked vigorous debate over consistency, proportionality, and the delineation between private affiliations and public obligations. The public's response was instantaneous and profoundly polarized. For some royalists and advocates of institutional change, the King's actions were lauded as an essential and candid endeavor to eliminate causes of enduring reputational harm. The revelation indicated a readiness at the highest echelon of the monarchy to prioritize institutional survival above familial allegiances. Commentators in some venues saw the purging as long overdue an act of stewardship by a king, intent on bequeathing a less burdened, more defensible crown to his successor. Critics expressed apprehensions over the timeliness of the judgment, the lack of specificity, and the perceived equivalency established between two persons whose issues varied in kind and timeline. Certain commentators criticized the palace for scapegoating and the selective enforcement of regulations, highlighting the possible legal, diplomatic, and ethical intricacies involved in barring a former working royal who had previously abdicated active responsibilities. Others noted that the action jeopardized the support of substantial portions of the public, who had begun to empathize with Meghan and Harry's concerns with media intrusion and institutional insularity. The palace's public communications were meticulously regulated. The statement highlighted the prospective leadership of William and Catherine, while refraining from disclosing the internal facts that informed the king's decisions. This discretion has historically characterized royal crisis management, maintaining privacy where feasible while reinforcing the public narrative. But it has also raised problems about accountability and the decision-making process involved. Certain critics contended that the palace's reluctance to disclose its study or provide an independent audit would further exacerbate conspiracy theories and intensify the appearance of opacity. Opponents said that disseminating unrefined material, some of which may be legalist or unverified, would be inherently irresponsible and legally problematic. As Charles retreated to the secret chambers of Buckingham Palace, the country and the global world were compelled to assess both the immediate consequences for those impacted and the long-term strategic trajectory of the House of Windsor. The ousting of Prince Andrew signified in several ways the concluding phase of a deterioration that started over 10 years before. As the second son of Queen Elizabeth II, Andrew formerly had a position of considerable respect in the public sphere. His military service as a helicopter pilot during the Falklands War, for which he garnered significant acclaim, and his later appointment as the United Kingdom's special representative for international trade and investment established him as a distinguished and engaged member of the royal family for an extended period. These positions included public obligations and fostered an extensive network of international connections, subsequently producing a consistent influx of public engagements and patronages associated with trade, charity, and diplomacy. However, Andrew's affiliation with Jeffrey Epstein, a billionaire subsequently convicted of sexual offenses, progressively tarnished his reputation. Allegations of sexual misbehavior against the prince surfaced publicly in the 2010s, and despite Andrew's unequivocal denials, elicited persistent media attention. A 2019 television interview aimed at dispelling rumors and elucidating the nature of the relationship with Epstein was mostly seen as counterproductive. Pundits and several members of the public deemed his comments unpersuasive and lacking in empathy towards the victim's suffering. Subsequent months saw Andrew retreat from official responsibilities, and in 2022, he was divested of military associations and patronages, marking a substantial reduction of his ceremonial royal functions. He also resolved a legal action initiated by Virginia Dewey in the United States. While the settlement allegedly had no admission of responsibility, it further muddled his public image and left unanswered issues about the degree of his involvement with Epstein. Notwithstanding these restrictions, Andrew retained his title as a member of the royal family and persisted in residing at Royal Lodge on the Windsor estate. The agreements preserved a residual status that critics said weakened the Crown's attempts to exhibit uniform ethical norms. Palace sources indicate that the recently disclosed records from the Epstein estate include emails implying that Andrew's associations and interactions with Epstein's network were more extensive and frequent than previously recognized. They allegedly delineated the intersections of social introductions, commercial negotiations, and public engagements, intersections that the palace determined obscured the distinction between personal affiliations and the duties of an acknowledged royal agent. For the king, this evidence constituted a significant violation of etiquette and confidence, demonstrating how private affiliations may perpetuate enduring institutional damage just via connection. In response, King Charles declared that Andrew would no longer be referred to as His Royal Highness and would henceforth be known just as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The alteration removing a prince's HR designation, but retaining the ducal title, traditionally linked to the individual, is symbolically important. It formalizes his absence from official royal life, precluding him from state events and public obligations associated with the crown. It also terminates the last ceremonial and institutional ties that linked him to the monarchy's active functions. The palace underscored that security provisions, financial assistance, and formal backing associated with the royal office would cease. Practical ramifications of this alteration included the termination of personnel supplied by the royal household and the redistribution of patronages and charity control. The public response in the United Kingdom seemed largely favorable towards the decision. Surveys conducted at the time of the announcement indicated persistent public disapproval of Andrew, and analysts characterized his ousting as an essential measure to purify the institution of protracted and detrimental affiliation. However, several legal and constitutional specialists questioned whether the ruling subjected the monarchy to more extensive scrutiny. They indicated that while the sovereign maintains authority over titles and styles granted by the crown, such choices may provoke legal disputes over privacy, reputation, and the interpretation of previous agreements. The king's decision emphasized a readiness to prioritize the crown status, even when legal resolution had been achieved via settlements or previous fines. The omission of the Duchess of Sussex was for most observers the most unexpected and notable aspect of the king's proclamation. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's 2020 decision to resign as senior working royals and migrate to the United States has already transformed the family's public dynamics. Since that time, the pair has engaged in many private and commercial endeavors, including media partnerships and charity initiatives focused on their Archewell Foundation. They had also expressed overt criticism of aspects of the royal family in interviews and public pronouncements, resulting in a tense relationship with some segments of the British elite and public. Their departure rendered them polarizing figures, celebrated by some as modernizers, subjected to media scrutiny by others, and criticized for their commercialization of royal affiliation. The palace's internal probe, initiated by the 2025 document dump, reportedly does not implicate Meghan in any direct criminal misconduct. Instead, it seems to have concentrated on a wider pattern of previous affiliations during her pre-royal career in Hollywood and the types of social networks that, although not inherently criminal and lawful, were deemed by the palace to be inconsistent with the standards anticipated of a royal family member. These criteria include caution, integrity, and the reduction of reputational risk. The recently uncovered records allegedly included mentions of shared friends and social engagements inside Epstein's broader network connections that, when evaluated together, were seen to demonstrate an intolerable degree of entanglement. This rationale also included other enduring apprehensions over Meghan's behavior throughout her tenure as a working royal. Previous allegations of bullying among Kensington Palace personnel, which had initiated an internal investigation years before, re-emerged during the 2025 assessment and were seen by some individuals inside the palace as corroborating a behavioral pattern inconsistent with the institution's ideals. The public disputes within Meghan's family and the couple's commercial endeavors while holding royal titles were perceived as further indications of a preference for personal brand enhancement, which conflicted with the anticipated norms of collective discretion and unity. The cumulative impact of these factors rather than any one event led palace officials to determine that Meghan's ongoing connection with the crown represented a reputational risk that could not be adequately alleviated by mere distance. The Sussexes responded vehemently. A spokeswoman issued a statement from California denying any wrongdoing by Meghan and condemning the palace's decision as a planned smear campaign that continued the unjust treatment the pair had consistently criticized. They reaffirmed their commitment to an autonomous approach to public service via Archewell. For Meghan's admirers, the king's absence was seen as a conclusive demonstration of an establishment intolerant of dissent and uneasy. With the couple's attempts to redefine royal responsibilities for the palace and its proponents of Charles's decision, the action was portrayed as a regrettable but necessary measure to safeguard the monarchy's integrity and delineate its boundaries. The ensuing communications conflict highlighted markedly divergent narratives on equity, racism, media conduct, and institutional culture. Proponents of the Sussexes condemned what they saw as ongoing selective scrutiny, stemming from an often antagonistic British media landscape. Detractors emphasized what they regarded as a behavioral pattern incongruent with the traditional responsibilities of the monarchy. The conflict also prompted pragmatic inquiries on security and public financing, if Meghan were no longer considered formally affiliated with the royal household. What provisions would be established to guarantee the safety of her and her family members residing overseas? The responses to these practical issues were quickly intertwined with larger discussions like accountability expenses and the extent of royal safeguarding for non-working family members. King Charles's announcement with Andrew's dismissal and Meghan's exclusion was a clear act of succession preparation. By designating William and Catherine as the figures under whom the monarchy would progress, the king assigned the duty of steering a revitalized institution directly to the Prince and Princess of Wales. This served as a pragmatic validation of their current public personas and a deliberate investment in continuity and rejuvenation. The proclamation's phrasing positioned William and Catherine as a stabilizing, modernizing influence responsible for restoring legitimacy and illustrating how a contemporary monarchy may function with defined ethical parameters and revitalized public purpose. Catherine, Princess of Wales, was depicted as a fundamental cornerstone of this anticipated revitalization. Since her marriage with Prince William in 2011, Catherine has established a reputation for deliberate public service and consistent involvement in long-term humanitarian initiatives. Originating from a middle-class background and familiar with public scrutiny, she epitomizes a contemporary royal persona that integrates conventional ceremonial responsibilities with meaningful campaigning. Her contributions to early childhood and family welfare have been a hallmark of her public life. In 2021, she established the Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood, an effort designed to enhance scientific study on early development and to convert that knowledge into public policy and community activity. Catherine's effort targets the first 5 years of life, a phase deemed crucial for cognitive and emotional development by many experts with the objective of tackling long-term socioeconomic issues such as addiction, mental health challenges, and intergenerational disadvantage from their origin. Her activism for mental health, particularly her involvement in the Heads Together campaign with William and Harry, contributed to the normalization of discussions around psychological welfare. In Britain, Catherine's private behavior has bolstered her public reputation. Minor personal acts of philanthropy, such as donating hair for medical wigs, became widely recognized and were seen as genuine manifestations of compassion. In 2024, during a prominent cancer diagnosis, she maintained a balance between transparency on her health and safeguarding her family's privacy, a stance that garnered widespread acclaim for its dignity and humanity. Catherine's consistent home, sea-centered public image contrasted with the issues surrounding others in light of the King's declaration, underscoring her role as a stabilizing force within the monarchy. Her evident engagement with social organizations, educational institutions, and health programs was presented as proof that the contemporary royal family may have a significant policy, relevant influence without encroaching onto party politics. Prince William, as the heir apparent, was thus seen as pivotal to the future of the crown. His previous work in search and rescue and air ambulance services fostered a public perception grounded on pragmatic service and empathy. Observers have remarked that in private discussions and via his patronages, he has consistently championed enhanced responsibility and a reassessment of royal duties influencing the decision-making. That resulted in more decisive action in 2025. William's public projects, clearly focused on environmental and social transformation, were seen as proof of a modernizing agenda for the monarchy. The Earthshot Prize, established in 2020, aims to use innovation and entrepreneurship to address significant environmental issues, incentivizing scalable solutions for climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. His Homewards project is a 5-year effort designed to showcase viable, scalable ways for mitigating homelessness by evaluating interventions in several experimental areas in the UK. William and Catherine were portrayed as a partnership that combines traditional symbolic duties with modern issue-focused leadership. They have maintained a mostly quiet family life, dwelling at Adelaide Cottage in Windsor and raising their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, with the intention of ensuring a conventional upbringing. Public actions such as William's choice to address elements of Catherine's health with their children in an age-appropriate manner exemplify an approachable and contemporary parenting style aimed at humanizing the monarchy. By designating them as symbols of rebirth, the King has entrusted the couple with the responsibility of restoring faith and relevance, as well as converting a temporary increase in popularity into a lasting social compact between the monarchy and an evolving British society. The public's response in the weeks subsequent to the King's message indicated a nuanced mixture of relief, approbation, and suspicion. Polling data gathered in early November 2025 by Ipsos revealed a little quantifiable rise in overall favorability ratings for the royal family and an enhancement in personal popularity for King Charles. Some observers viewed those findings as proof that a significant segment of the British population prioritizes verifiable leadership and accountability, specifically the perceived readiness to address scandal over the desire to maintain familial unity at all costs. Within younger demographics, traditionally ambivalent or critical of hereditary authority, indications of cautious approval emerged. Commentators highlighted that while immediate action may alleviate skepticism, temporarily enduring relevance necessitates continuous alignment with values that resonate with younger Britons, such as transparency, meaningful social contribution, and an understanding of the economic realities confronting numerous families today. The responses received from participants throughout the Commonwealth were varied and confusing. In countries such as Australia and Jamaica, where Republican movements have lately gained strength, the news presented both justifications for those who advocated for detaching from the crown and evidence for those who considered the acts of the King as symptomatic of an institution that is capable of self-reform. As a result of the purge, some political leaders and observers regarded it as a potential chance to recast the constitutional relationship with the monarchy. On the other hand, some said that it only brought attention to the idea that the crown represented an inherited framework that is in conflict with contemporary ideals. Public debate in Canada and New Zealand switched to the implications of a monarchy under William and Catherine for national identities and civic interests. This change occurred concurrently in both countries. There has been a resurgence in the significance of discussions over constitutional symbolism, the role of the Governor-General, and the ramifications of any changes, taking into account the legal, political, and economical repercussions. Despite the fact that the efforts brought forward by the king have received a swift and, in some circles, supportive reaction, considerable hurdles continue to exist. During the period in which the United Kingdom is experiencing a problem with the cost of living, the monarchy is subject to severe criticism over its public funding and the broad perception of luxury. We are continuing to inquire about the extent, transparency, and accountability of the government's aid to the royal family, and we anticipate that these inquiries will intensify amid negotiations over the budget and the elections. Recreating links with younger generations who are more likely to question the legitimacy and purpose of hereditary institutions within a meritocratic society is an undertaking that the Crown must undertake in order to fulfill its obligations. The changing family dynamics may ease certain immediate concerns, but they may also introduce new hazards. Certain of these risks include the media's intense examination of royal private lives and interpersonal connections, which may constantly draw focus away from constitutional obligations and public duty. Some of the practical governance tasks that the palace must now deal with include the reassignment of patronages and charitable responsibilities that Andrew had previously held, the delineation of the parameters of protection, travel, and security for individuals who do not have formal royal status, and the supervision of the transfer of duties to ensure continuity for charities and institutions that are dependent on royal support. It is clear that the decision will serve as a catalyst for further investigation of the sovereign grant, and the extent to which the public ought to be responsible for funding, not just ceremonial responsibilities, but also the safety and personal expenditures of members of extended families. Despite the fact that it would not directly address the underlying problems of the monarchy's finances and duty, the King's Gambit may be able to assuage some of the critics. It is possible that the remark made by King Charles Roman III might be seen as a substantial risk that is intended to eliminate things that are destructive and to reinstate the monarchy in preparation for a future that places an emphasis on responsibility and modernity. As a result of the King's decision to dissociate himself from Prince Andrew and to publicly exclude the Duchess of Sussex, he has successfully effected a definitive separation from aspects of past that he felt incompatible with the sustainability of the institution. Through his promotion of William and Catherine as the public representatives, he has personally entrusted them with the burden of exemplifying a reinvigorated, more focused, and more dignified crown. The fundamental question that observers and stakeholders are interested in answering is whether or not this form of surgical surgery would be able to appropriately treat the most important reputational losses that the monarchy has sustained. With the ability to demonstrate that the institution is capable of adapting to contemporary norms of integrity, transparency, and social relevance, William and Catherine have the potential to turn fleeting approval into long-lasting public trust. Are there going to be further scandals that weaken the prestige of the crown as a result of unresolved concerns, resentments that remain, and the inexorable dynamics of public life? The story of the House of Windsor has always been one of incremental adjustment in reaction to public scrutiny. This has been the case throughout its history. This new chapter, which is substantial in its scope and swift in its impact, will likely play a major role in defining how the monarchy creates its character in the next decades and whether or not it is able to successfully reconcile tradition with the responsibilities that modern public life is increasingly demanding. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and say goodbye for now.